The thing that helped me the most was being introduced to something called Survivors of Incest Anonymous groups. I was going through a crisis in my 20s, right after graduating from school, looking for a job, moved to a new location, trying to have a relationship. And in that space, I was struggling to figure out who I was. I had used going through school and academia as a place to focus all my energy and hide all the things that happened to me. And in this space of you've graduated, you're waiting for the bar results to come in, you're looking for a job, everything that happened to me had a chance to sort of try to make itself known. And it was confusing. It was really scary. But I had a friend who I could talk to, and we were in church together. And I said, look, this thing happened to me as a kid, and I was people did these things. And he said, what kind of things? Do you mind talking about it? I said, no, sex things. And he said, oh, that happened to me too. And I was shocked. I said, really? He said, oh yeah, and by the way, I go to these two groups. They're called Survivors of Incest Anonymous. There's one with men and women, and there's one with just men. And you're welcome to go with me. And I was surprised. I said, no, thanks. I'm good. I'm good. And after a couple of weeks, I decided to go with him. And I'll just never forget my first meeting. There were these men and women who were sitting around, and they said, what happened to them. And I was just blown away by them being able to talk about it. And I thought, do they expect me to say something? Do I not have to say something? Now they have the rules. It's a 12-step program, so you don't have to speak. But I felt compelled I had to say something. And so I said, my name is Hart, and I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. And thanks for being here. And that broke the dam and started my survival journey. And the thing that was so great about that for me was in this room were men and women who had lived through things as children that no child should live through. They were dealing with it in the context of this meeting. And they taught me. I attended those meetings. There was a men and women on Sunday nights and a men's meeting on Wednesday night. And they taught me how to live and heal and live. I had searched for healing in books because academia is the way that I kind of try to do everything on the head level. But the pressure came at the heart and the emotional level. And I didn't have models on how to deal with that. Fortunately, I found a friend who introduced me to the group, and the people in the group were my teachers. And they taught me how you could see them walk in, and we all had this professional demeanor, and then they would take it off, and then their real selves would come into the room, and they would deal with some kind of pain, and they would tell some story. There was no crosstalk, we just listened. And then they would put themselves back together, and they would go out and live for another week, and then they would come back and do the same thing again. So you heal and live and heal and live. And those were the greatest models I could have had. I also used the reading too, because at one point, I wanted science to save me. I wanted to find all the answers in books. And 25 years ago, when I was dealing with it most intensely, there was just not enough information to find in the books, particularly not for men and particularly not for Black men.